Hi. So you're probably wondering why in the middle of your tea time, you have been told to watch a video. So my name is Mercy. I would have loved to have been here with you. However, I already had another previous engagement that I could not cancel. So I decided that maybe this video would be a great thing for us to share. Welcome so much to this very important, very overdue conversation on mental health for women. I am the author of a book called The Silent Backbone. This book is about the importance of mental health in executive assistants and other people who work in support staff. So this can be coordinators, administrative assistant, team support, HR, all the people who are working behind the scenes to make sure that companies are working. The reason why I decided to write that book was because I had seen quite a number of people who were going through burnouts and other forms of mental health struggles, and yet there was it was considered as normal or part of their job, and the conversation hardly ever took place. After the book came out, I came to realize that it is not just people who are going through this and working in those spaces, but there are other conversations that need to be had in regards to mental health. As immigrants, which many people in Geneva are, we have a lot of struggles that we do not even realize is part of mental health because we have learned to normalize it. Everything you deal with is valid, everything you feel is valid, and while we will not always sit and complain and not move on, we need to realize that some of the time we are actually in a situation where it is totally out of our control, and there are lots of things around us that are affecting us. So having the ability to talk about your mental health helps you to understand what you're going through, helps you to validate what you're going through, helps you to find solutions to what you're going through. This is not about victim mentality. This is not about sitting and having an echo chamber where everybody is validating you. This is about talking to a friend, to somebody that you meet today, to somebody else who possibly has gone through or knows somebody who has gone through what you're going through, and being made to feel like you are not crazy and that this does happen to people. As women, we are statistically in really in a really bad place when it comes to being listened to. We know that when a woman complains about many things, even historically, in all societies, it is always blamed on, is it that time of the month? Is it her hormones? There's always something that can be credited to what you are talking about. It doesn't matter if it is linked to my periods. It really does not matter if it is linked to my having a baby. It does not matter what it is linked to. If it is affecting my mental well-being, we need to make this a priority. I feel like governments and the decision makers historically have not cared about this, and we've learned to not really make noise about it, but I want us to start making noise about it. So today when you're here for your tea and you're having these conversations, think about a few things. Think about that friend who had a baby and never went back to being her real self. Think about that friend who had a miscarriage and does not want any more children. She's just so traumatized and cannot get over the loss of this baby. Think about that friend who got divorced and for the longest time we kept wondering, it was just a man, come on, move on. Think about that friend who lost a relative and has never been the same again. Think about that friend that you knew once, but you don't know whatever happened to this friend. They just disappeared off the face of the earth. These are the different ways that we see mental health struggles and depression. But what we don't see and what we don't realize is it presents differently in different people. For example, there are people who, when they're going through mental health stress, when they're going through depression, they will overachieve. There are people who, when they're going through mental health or any depressive episodes, they will be very out there and very vocal and very combative and always out there, you know. But then there are those ones who will sit in their corner and cry. So don't think that any form of the way that it presents itself is the right way. There is no right way, there is no wrong way for mental health to present itself. And even for ourselves, very many people do not know how these things present. So I will finish by telling you a short story about how I came into this journey for mental health. So I grew up in Kenya, born and raised, came to Switzerland at the age of 21. At the age of 26, I lost my father. I was very close to my father. And when I received the news of his death, I was not even in a position to go for his funeral. So I sat here and I cried. And after crying, I had always been somebody who drinks a lot. But now my drinking became more. And my drinking became more. And I started really going out a lot. My social life became very, very much out there. And that is not what people would normally associate with depression. So years later, after getting into a relationship with a man, and the relationship ended up really badly, and I was pregnant, and I had a baby, and I looked at this baby, and I was expecting to feel something because I had been told there's a way that you're supposed to feel when you're a mother. I did not feel it. And that's when I realized that maybe I'm broken. But we come from a place where this is not a conversation that is had. This is not something that we acknowledge. So after being forced into going for mental health treatment, and this I was forced because of very many, a few attempted suicides and final breakdown. I had a complete breakdown where everything just went black and I had no idea where I was or what. I just found myself at the hospital. And at this point they said, woman, we're either going to take your child if you don't get help. And that's when I got help. It still did not make sense to me. And years later, after the medication had worn off, after I had come to myself, after I had really had a conversation with myself and really looked at myself, I was able to start pinpointing where things started going wrong. And I realized that there were so many things that I had never dealt with. And that's what was coming out in form of this depression. And because of that, I learned that depression does not present itself in the same way that we think it does. And the myth that I had been told that Black people don't get depressed, we have better things to do with our time than to get depressed, was actually not true. We do get depressed, we do get sad, we do get stressed, we have all these things that happen to us. And it does not matter what your background is. You can be a very successful woman who has a great career, but depression can sneak in. You can be a woman in a very happy marriage, but depression can sneak in. There are so many different triggers. There are so many different ways that these things happen. And because of also hormonal changes, women are more prone to getting all these problems. Please take care of yourself and realize that we have the ability and the option to get surrounded by people who understand mental health importance and who are willing to be there for us as a support system. So please, as you sit here, as you have your tea, as you enjoy your snacks, make sure that you are talking to people. Be open as much as you want, as much as you feel comfortable to, and feel free to reach out to me or Sharon if you need help with finding help for what you're going through mentally. I repeat again, I'm the author of the book, The Silent Backbone, which is a book not just for executive assistants. Anybody can read this. And it has some signs about what burnout is. And many people who've gone through burnouts have read it and told me that they feel like they were represented, even though they were not assistants. So ladies, I hope you enjoy yourselves. And I hope that this is one of many and that I will be there to have this conversation with you face to face. Bye bye.